Hello fellow enthusiasts and welcome back to a Jeep video. Yes, I'm doing a follow-up because the first one turned out to be quite popular as far as my channel is concerned anyway. So I thought I'd give you some, tips and tricks and maybe some practical information of how my Jeep restoration proceeded and what you can expect when restoring your own Jeep. Mostly I'm going to have a focus on the cost of the restoration, what it cost in terms of money, and also a bit in terms of the time I spent on it. So if you want to go from your Jeep looking like this to this, yeah, I know the difference isn't huge, but the difference is under the hood, and trust me, we're going to get back to that. So if you want to see what it takes to get one of these classic cars operational, you should follow on to this video. First things first though, how do we calculate the cost of things? Well, for the most part I used my local military enthusiast club association and purchased most of my parts through them, primarily because A, it's more convenient for me as they're already located in Norway, and B, it's a nice thing to do to support your local enthusiast forums anyway, so I try to stick to them as best I could, but some parts I had to source from abroad, Joe's Motorpool and Ron Fitzpatrick for instance. But what I decided to do was to take the currency in February 2023, because that's when I bought most of my part, and converted from Norwegian kroners into US dollars. So I found this handy graph here and took an average. So that means that 1 Norwegian kroners equal 0.0983 roughly American freedom money. So let's start looking at some numbers and expenses and see how I got on. I thought we'd start at the beginning with my point of view, being an absolute amateur, having never done this before and don't having any sort of tools or advanced workshop or anything. I just have my garage where I usually park my bike, and that was more or less it. I have some miscellaneous tools like hammers and pliers and things like that, but I had to buy quite a lot of things. For instance, I use metric tools for all of my other work, but I had to get these freedom units type of tools because, well, this Jeep is built in inches, being American from 1940, and I also had to get another part of some other bits that I didn't have from some special tools like the wheel bearing wrench socket for instance, and a new battery charger and some miscellaneous tools. So these are the expenses that I started with. You might have these tools already, you might not, I don't know, but this is where the cost started running. So in no particular order, here are all the bits and bobs I had to replace and do on my Jeep. Machining the top, the retainer valve springs, the valve cover gasket, the transfer case oil seal for the wheel hub bearings, the rotors, the oil seal axle shaft, the lock washer wheel bearing, the rear brake cylinder, the carburetor repair cap, the rear corner rear handles, the rep kit for the front cylinders, connectors, fuel filters, points, capacitor, thermostat, water hose, oil filler element, the air filter hose, the water pump, the oil pan gasket, the oil flex line long, the oil flex line short, the brake shoes, the brake hose set, the glass fuel bowl, the master cylinder repair kit, the fuel tank anti-squeak set, that was actually a fun job, the NOS windscreen and the winter top with the doors, a new rear panel which took ages to fit but got really nice, new battery, the emergency brake, fluids and grease, and the rear seat which I got for free. Whew, that's quite an extensive list, but if you want to, you can pause the video here and go through all the bits and bobs and look at the prices there. And yeah, things cost. Everything is expensive working on an old car like this, especially when you have no other way of getting the supplies you need than buying everything new. Because, well, I don't really have a huge network where I can get parts for free or cheap, and there's not a huge market in Norway for that anyway. So, yeah, this got expensive. But no matter, there's more money to be spent on this thing as we're already in the flow. So, I obviously made the gun for the Jeep as well, but I saved some money by constructing the cradle for the gun on my computer at work, and I made these drawings which I then had cut out professionally at a local machine shop close to me, and I don't have a welder myself, so I had some help from a friend who did all of this for free, thankfully, and he made this gun cradle and bracket for me, which was really nice of him, and yeah, looks really good. I made all the parts and made all the purchases. So I bought the steel, I bought these wheels to turn, and yeah, they add up, the everything. So the gun wasn't inexpensive, but I really think it adds to the value of the Jeep. And come on, look at this. It looks badass, right? I mean, I don't regret spending this money at all. It looks absolutely fabulous. To get a car road legal here in Norway, there are quite strict rules and regulations, so you have to show off your car and take what the British call an MOT. So just, they make sure that the brakes work, the light works, and the car is roadworthy and just not just road legal. Thankfully, as my Jeep is so old, there were no fees on getting it road legal, but they were quite expensive if I wanted to get historically accurate license plates for it. If I wanted to get modern plates, it would cost me $10, but I wanted to be historically accurate and got the 1950s Norwegian plate, which cost a fortune. But, it looks brilliant. So, yeah, just another expense that I have to live with. So that brings us neatly on to the end of the video. What did the Jeep cost eventually? Are you keeping track? Do you know? No? Okay, let me show you. It's just short of $3,000, which, I don't think is terrible. I had anticipated and expected it to be more expensive, so yeah, I don't think this is too bad, considering that I did a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of things more than once, and it took me ages to do it. But all in all, yeah, I can live with it, and and I know that the car is worth a lot more than what I bought it for and what I put into the restoration. So yeah, pretty happy with this. Hope you found the video interesting, and at least now you know if you're going to take on a Jeep project of your own, this is what you can expect if your Jeep is in fairly good condition and there's no rust on it at least. But this is what it will take to get it going and at least somewhat roadworthy and road legal. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.